Hi, this is Laura Watt-Closser from Hand in Hand for Lyme Disease. I'm the Vice President. My last video was not accepted by YouTube, so I'm going to try to make it as short as possible. The CDC does not recognize chronic Lyme disease, and the CDC approves the two-tier test, which is the ELISA and the Western blot. These tests are invalid. The ELISA is invalid because typically they do the test if you have a bullseye rash, which is a 50% chance that you won't get the bullseye rash. Most people don't get the bullseye, and if you've been bit on your scalp, you probably won't even know you've been bit, and you won't even know you have a bullseye. So what's the problem is with the ELISA is that your body hasn't even had a chance to build antibodies. And then if you're to the Lyme bacteria, the spirochetes that are associated with Lyme disease, so you will not test positive for Lyme disease yet. And then if you're tested later, what happens is Lyme disease affects your immune system, and it affects your ability to build antibodies. So you will not test positive on the ELISA. It's very unlikely. And the Western blot breaks down, what this test does is it looks at the bands in your blood, and it tests the bands in your blood to see if you have Lyme disease. The problem with this is that you need to test 3 out of 5 bands, I think, are supposed to be positive for the CDC requirement, when they've eliminated most of the Lyme-sensitive bands from the Western blot the CDC has. So there are specific bands that are very Lyme-sensitive bands that show exposure specifically to Lyme disease, and they've taken them out of the test. And Dr. Horowitz, who is the guru of chronic Lyme disease, specifically suggests that only one band is necessary for, I have acid reflux, Lyme disease. It will affect any system in your body. Mine, it's also been my GI system. But the test for Dr. Horowitz, he suggests that only one Lyme-sensitive band suggests that you've had exposure to the Lyme bacteria. So there's a huge discrepancy, and these Lyme-sensitive bands are starred on what I would suggest is the test that you should take, which is the IGeneX, which will show all of the Lyme-sensitive bands, and then they're starred, which shows how much bacteria is showing up in your blood, and so you know it's like it's pluses, so you know how much of how severe the blood test showed up. And then you also get an indicative, which is considered by most Lyme literate doctors as a positive for exposure to Lyme bacteria. You also get a history on the IGeneX of past exposure, which could mean that you still have that in your blood, but it's not showing up, because the way that Lyme bacteria is, it hides in the tissues of your body, so it's very difficult to detect. So you may not even you may have the Lyme bacteria, but it's hiding deep down in the tissues in your body. So these tests are even more difficult because of the way that Lyme bacteria can hide. It's a spiral bacteria, so it can really burrow deep into the muscles, into the tissues, into the joints, into the brain, and really burrow itself. And it also can build biofilms. It gets into a cyst form. It's a very complicated disease. Now, without the CDC providing recognition of this disease, millions and millions of Americans are left paying for this disease out of pocket. And this is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And until the CDC recognizes that this is a global epidemic, people are left paying for this out of pocket. And many people are left unemployed because they're paralyzed Their heart has been affected, their central nervous system. For me, that's, one of the things that has happened, amongst many. And they're left without the opportunity to collect Social Security. And that's because chronic Lyme disease, according to the CDC, is non-existent. So they are left trying to figure out how to pay for this treatment. Many times this affects couples because of the financial burden, and many people know one of the main burdens in a marriage is finances. And then you have a partner, your spouse who is sick, and it can cause a lot of marital discord. And then having a sick spouse, you can't do the things that you used to do, and it's not the same person that you married. If they become sick during the marriage, if they get bit by a tick. So there's a lot of things to think about. And because the CDC doesn't recognize Lyme disease, we often lose friends, family, because they don't know what to believe, because there's so many lies surrounding this disease that is actually propagated by the CDC. So what we're trying to do at Hand in Hand for Lyme disease is we're trying to raise money through fundraising and getting donations to help people who can't afford to pay for their treatment, and have an opportunity to try to regain their health. And we do have an upcoming fundraiser. You can visit our website at handinhandforlyme.com, and I'm urging people to step out of their own box, step out of their own lives, and think of what it would be like if you got bit by a tick, because there's a very good likelihood that you will, because we have an unbelievable amount of ticks everywhere. They're everywhere. And there's a very good likelihood someone you love will get bit by a tick if you already haven't had someone that you love get bit by a tick. And it's very likely that it will be carrying Lyme disease. And you'll need some support. So my phone number is 413-495-2131. Text me, let me know who you are, because I'm getting telemarketers all the time, especially since I have a website. So, and you can ask me any question. You can find me on Facebook at Laura Ann Watt Closser. And I want you to learn more about this. I want you to get outraged. I want you to help, please, because we have this fundraiser. I've sold 6 tickets, and as sick as I am, I've been emailing. I'm really tired. I really feel very fatigued today. I don't have any appointments. I'm thinking I should probably try to get on the treadmill, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to break my neck because I'm really tired. But we really need your help. We need help getting the CDC to recognize this disease and pass bills across the United States. We have a uniform bill all across the United States that pays for this treatment, and it gets research, and actually helps with prevention, so no one else has to suffer from this. But right now, I need you. I need every single person to reach out and help and support people who are suffering. And there's a 14-year-old on my page who I know, Mackenzie, who is back and forth in the hospital the last 3 days on a breathing machine. And I'm praying for her and her mom that she's going to make it. And you can go on my Facebook and you can follow Mackenzie. And I just get very emotional. And I'm praying for her and her family. Thank you.